You're a lady. Imagine somebody comes to you, wants to talk to you. He looks nice, well dressed, very articulate. He's also driving a very nice car. Okay, the car is probably the latest model of a Range Rover or a Porsche. So he looks good. He looks like you know what I mean? Yeah. And he says, "Hi, how are you doing?" And you give him some of your time and you discuss and you kind of like his vibe. Then a couple of days later, you see him again with his Porsche and everything. And you're like, oh, things are going well. Then 3 days later, you see him walking in the street. No Porsche, no Range Rover, none of the clothes he was wearing, nothing like it was the first time. Then you ask, what's up? What's wrong? Just to be told that, in fact, the Porsche or the Range Rover he was driving was not his. He rented it. It was for rental. And he used that to approach you after you created a picture around this person. How do you feel about that? You feel deceived, right? How do you feel about that? Be honest. You feel deceived, especially if you started liking the guy just to realize, actually, he works just here. He's just a tire changer, or he works as a cleaner. The car was just for rental. You feel lied to, right? That's how many men feel about a specific subject after seeing you in a certain way. I'm going to talk about this just now. Ivory Coast have come up with something brand new, okay? The competition of Miss Côte d'Ivoire has changed. In order to be candidate, you must appear with natural hair. No more fake hair, none of that. They say they can come braided, they can come with short hair. If they have no hair, they can come shaved.
Concernant les innovations de cette année, nous avons mis l'accent sur la taille d'abord, qui va passer à 1,67 m pieds nus. La deuxième innovation de taille, c'est que pour les présélections cette année, tous les candidats devront venir avec les cheveux naturels. On ne veut plus de tissage, on ne veut plus de perruques.
This changes comes from the fact that we are often questioned about the fact that locks, wigs, and addition do not come from Ivorian culture and African culture, explains Victor Yapobi, president of Miss Côte d'Ivoire. So Miss Côte d'Ivoire, the beauty pageants competition, I say from now on, all candidates must come natural. No more fake hair, no more wigs, none of that. None of all that. You come with your natural hair. If you have no hair, you can come shaved, or you can braid your hair, or any of that. Because people are tired of fakery. What is fakery? Fakery is taking somebody else's identity. And look, a clown can take somebody else's identity temporarily. The problem with our community is that has become your identity. You have switched from who you truly are to what you imagine yourself being, which is not a reflection of who you are. How do you feel about that? And I know a lot of people will say here, yeah, we have the rights. I can choose whatever I want to be. I can choose whatever hair I want to put on my skull. It's none of your business. It's my money. I get that. But there's a point that you need to get to. It's not just about hair. It's not just an hair extension. There is a story to that. There is history embedded in that situation. There are specific reasons why today you feel like in order for you to look nice or to look acceptable, you need to wear fake hair. I mean, it's okay to wear it when it's sunny or whatever, but when it becomes a problem for you to get out of the house because you have not worn a wig or a fake hair, that shows something psychological. It means you do not appreciate yourself. You think you're ugly without your fake hair. You think you are inadequate. You do not fit the beauty standards of everybody else. We're going to try to go back into history to understand where this complex came from, because this, trust me, is psychological. Now, many years ago, fellas, many Africans were taken from the continent by force by the colonizers. They were taken to the islands, taken to the Caribbean, taken to Brazil to go work in cotton and sugarcane field. The goal was, let's take these black people because they look strong. They can go work on the field so we don't have to kill ourselves. They will do all the hard work on our behalf and make us rich. So many black people in millions were taken all the way to America to work in various countries today. But at the time, as soon as they got there, they sold those Africans. Many were stolen, many families divided because the child had to go to the left and the mother goes to the right. And as we can all imagine, it was very dramatic. Now, as time went by, white people started sleeping with some of the slaves. I believe because some of them were curious to see how do they feel. I have a wife, but let me force myself on this one and see how it feels, perhaps. And because I have the power, she has nothing to say. It's happened that way. And sometimes it's because they prefer the slave to the women whom in time had the right to say, no, I don't want you to touch me this way. I don't want you to touch me that way. After 3, 4, 5 times, I don't want you to touch me this way, he goes to the slave. And as time went by, many of the slaves started giving birth to children from white men, from white oppressors. And because the goal was very simple, sell as much slaves as possible to make business. The business for many of these people was about selling slaves, so the slave can work in the field. As they were selling slaves at a very cheap price, they started selling the mixed race slaves as well. The mixed race slaves were a little bit different. They looked lighter in skin, they had softer hair and straighter hair, and they were sold much more expensive than the black slaves. And that happened very often. And with time, obviously, that created resentment between the two groups. The dark, hard-haired slaves felt undermined, and the other group felt superiority complex toward the black slaves, creating two distinct communities between the two people. And obviously, when you're in that situation, you start building an idea. You're like, okay, I see they're treating them much better. Is it because they're lighter in skin? Maybe. Is it because they have straighter hair, a different texture of hair than mine? Maybe if my skin looked lighter and my hair looked softer, I would get a much better treatment. And obviously, as time goes, you start building that narrative, seeing how the lighter skinned slaves were treated much better by the white man than the black skinned slaves. I mean, of course, everybody want to be treated nice. So you're going to try to copy whoever you're seeing is doing okay. In the 1700s, black slaves that were free, they were allowed to dress their hair as they wanted. And many of the free blacks used animal grease to dress their hair, making it look nice, soft and sexy. You know, sexiness started a long time ago, not now. And that attracted many of the white men. They liked it. And the white women did not like that fact. Then later on, in 1786, they came up with a law. They had to stop the black women from shining. They had to stop them from looking good because some of these men were just all over the place because of these women. In 1786, the governor of New Orleans passed a law designed to stifle self-expression. It was called the Tignon Law. And this law forced black women to put a wrap on their hair. So black women had to wrap their hair and not come out like this. You were not allowed anymore to have your hair flying in the air in the middle of people. You have to put a wrap on your hair before you come out. This clearly was another form of oppression. However, what did they do? They tried to find another way to beat that. Instead of crying over the situation of wrapping their hair, black women adopted beautiful scarves, tied it in complicated manner, beginning a distinctive fashion trend that became popular across the globe. So then these black women, instead of crying over what has happened to them, they created a style with scarves, colorful scarves, looking beautiful. So from being free, being able to use animal grease to do your hair, to being told you cannot walk around with your hair open because you're attracting many of our men. This is unacceptable. They then created a trend, wrapping their hair with fancy and colorful wraps, looking beautiful. In 1865, after the end of slavery, C.J. Walker came up with a product for hair to make black women happier. This was a natural product to soften your hair. C.J. Walker was a great businesswoman, very, very intelligent. She helped the black community. And in 1875, Garrett Morgan, an American inventor and businessman, came up with another product for hair, and it was very popular. So Garrett Morgan is also the guy that came up with the three-way stoplight, the traffic light. He created it. And in the 1960s, they took that product from Garrett Morgan and gave it to George Johnson. Then he completely transformed this product from being a natural hair softener to a chemical hair softener. They wanted to industrialize this. You know, I don't know if you've seen this before. You see many black women have no hair here. Have you seen that? They have hair here, but the hair here is gone. They don't have. In many places. What's the reason to that? It's because of the chemical hair softener. The goal was very simple. Do you think somebody that enslaved your ancestors will create something to make you look nice for your benefit with no consequences? It's not possible. That's why many black women's hair here are absent. You need to understand that God created you perfect. God knew exactly what he was doing. Your natural hair is very important. In the United States of America in the 1960s, they conducted a test, a research with Indian Americans where they were going to stage an attack against Indian Americans. So they called Indian Americans, they said to them, sit here at the camp. We are going to attack you or act like we are attacking you to kill you. We're not going to tell you the day, we're not going to tell you the time. And we're going to see. They separated two groups. One was with Indian with long hair. The other group was with Indian with no hair. So they staged the attack. After they did the attack, the result was astounding. The Indians with the hair could feel when the enemy was coming. They all stood up and they had the reaction of fight or flight. The body reacted to the presence of somebody wanting to do them wrong. Why? Because your hair is not just your hair. Your hair is an extension of your nervous system. And these are things they don't tell people. the hair worked like an antenna to enable you to know what's happening at a higher level than physical. But all the Indians that had their hair shaved could not feel anything. They were surprised by the attack. And that's a very interesting study. You can go and check it for yourself. The Ethiopians were attacked by the Italians at the time. And during the war, they did not shave their hair. Whilst the entire Africa was taken by colonizers, Ethiopia was not taken because they fought like lions and they kept their hair. And their hair played a major role at feeling where the enemy was. Your natural hair is very important, my sisters. Malba Tolliver, in 1971, worked for ABC News. She was a tremendous journalist and anchor. She was told to make comments on President Dixon's daughter's marriage, on President Dixon's daughter's wedding, because she was excellent. They asked her to speak out, make a comment. But shortly before that, she was wearing a natural hair. She had abandoned wearing fake hair. And she was told, you need to wear your hair for you to come on TV. She said no. She resisted. And they fired her from the program completely.
Chose to wear my hair in a natural, and I happened to be going to cover Tricia Nixon's White House wedding. This was in 1971. I was taken off the air. I covered the wedding and did the report, but some of the reporting I was supposed to do in connection with it got canceled. Like, I was to come back, be live in the studio, that was canceled. I was to do the morning show with John Bartholomew Tucker, that appearance was canceled. And I was like a naughty kid who was sent to the principal's office in a school, because I had to spend a couple of days sitting in the general manager's office while they tried to persuade me to change back to having my hair straight.
You must check her out. Malba Tolliver, great persona. They fired her because she stood strong. She refused to wear fake hair. And this is very interesting. It happened in South Africa with a young girl that was chased from her school because she was wearing a natural afro hair. They were trying to impose her to wear fake hair or to soften her hair.
The issue of my hair has been a thing that's followed me my entire life. My hair is not natural, it's exotic. My afro was not wanted or anything like that. And then the issue followed me to high school, where I was told I should straighten or relax or cut my hair off because it is not wanted and it is dirty.
So yeah, Côte d'Ivoire now has said from now on, we're going back to who we are. Okay, as much as we understand there is a possibility for you to have your hair straightened, it's enough. Okay, we want you to be natural. We want you to be you. We want you to come with your figure. You don't have to look like a stick to be Miss Côte d'Ivoire. You need to look like an African woman. You need to bring your natural hair. If you don't hair, bring short hair. You can braid your hair. You can do whatever you want, but don't bring us any other type of hair, other people's hair. I mean, you buy hair. You make a lot of money to these businesses that are Chinese in most cases. Chinese go to India, Indian temples, to get the hair from the people that sacrifice their hair. The hair is sacrificed for the gods to forgive them. They work with the hair, then they send it to you and you wear them. And you think, and you're asking yourself why your life is not working out. I mean, these people went to a temple to sacrifice their hair. And by giving the hair, they're giving their problems. And you are buying the hair. And you wonder why you don't get married. You have 3 kids with different fathers. I'm sorry, yeah, look, we all make bad decisions, but certain decisions are decisions you make based on yourself. As much as there are solutions to many things, one of the solutions is to remember who you truly are, a queen. God bless.